Hello, welcome to my channel if it's got wheels. So today I'm going to be talking about impact guns, and I'm going to show you the impact guns that I use and explain a little bit about why I use them, my favourites, dislikes, likes, that kind of thing. I'm going to go through 4 guns today. So the first one I'm going to be talking about is this little chap made by Milwaukee, and it's the M18 BID, which comes as a 2-part with a drill. 4 amp hour battery with a standard, I think it's about 170 Newton meters of breakaway torque, which is alright. I use this one an awful lot, and I'll explain a little while later. Next one, my newest, which is part of the fuel range, Milwaukee again, M18 FIW2F12. About 330 Newton meters of breakaway torque, incredibly powerful for its size. I absolutely love this gun. It's also quite stubby, so it can get into a lot of places. Once again, 4 amp hour battery. Switching brands now, we're now going to go on to, we're going to talk a bit later about this, which is my Kielder. Don't know if any of you have heard of Kielder. It's a British company. Had to get this gun for a couple of years, and I'll explain why I use this and where it's and what it's all about. This is model number KWT-012. 700 Newton meters of breakaway torque, running on a 4 amp hour battery, and this has been my favourite gun of all time, and I will explain why. And if I'm not asking any questions and I just want that bolt undone, then I have this, which is the big brother of that 700 gun. This is 1750 Newton meters of breakaway torque, currently running on a 5 amp hour battery, and I will speak a little bit about that shortly. This is the KWT-085. Now, there's not an awful lot of information available online about this gun, and I don't think a lot of people know it exists, but what a machine. I don't use it as much as I thought I would, but I will explain the reasons. So let's go back. So we'll talk about this little Makita. Probably use this more than any other. Now, this is really useful for everything from working on my motorcycle, because it's not overly powerful. That has benefits because you're not going to shear things. So very good for panel screws, driving screws, basic nuts and bolts, anything on a motorcycle is because they're useful, right down to removing under trays of cars and all this sort of stuff. So an incredibly versatile little gun. Now you can fit it with these little adapters for sockets, various sizes. They just slot in, click in, and then they're locked. 2 speeds on this gun, so speed 1, speed 2. It's a brushed motor, so it's not brushless. It does have a wee light, which is very useful. Battery indicator as part of the battery, which is kind of standard on all of the Milwaukee guns. And it's been an incredibly reliable little gun, and I'm really pleased I got it because it's very useful without overdoing it. So yeah, if you get this, purchase this, got this from Screwfix, I think it was, as part of a twin kit with a drill. I think I paid 180 something pounds for that and the drill, which actually isn't that bad. The drill is exceptional. I love it. I use it all the time. Not showing the drill today because we're not talking about that. So I then decided to go out because I was so impressed with Milwaukee. I went and bought this. Now, it was a bit of an impulse buy, I will admit, but it actually is a little beast. So 330, I think it is, I might be wrong, Newton meters of torque breakaway, 1/2 inch drive, and pretty much anything on a car, with the exception of probably axle bolts and drive shaft bolts and that sort of thing, it will undo with ease. So suspension components, wheel nuts, provided they're not over torqued, no sweat at all. Now, it's 3 speed, so speed number 1, which is selectable down here, so that's number 1, nice and steady. Number 2, number 3, and then the 4th setting is how I describe it. It's kind of like an impact release. So once it detects impact, it increases power. Once the impact is no longer needed, it reduces the speed. So if you're undoing something, it stops that nut from winding off so quickly and drop things everywhere. So actually quite useful. I don't know whether it's any less powerful than the other settings. You've got a nice light, which does provide really good illumination of what you're working on. And because it is quite stubby, I mean, compare it to my 700 gun, there's quite a difference there. So that does enable you to get into some tighter spaces that otherwise you wouldn't be able to do. And I was tempted to get a right angle impact, but to be honest, so far I've been able to get everything I need to, or get this into every gap that I've ever needed. So really impressed with the Milwaukee range. Kind of got them because I've seen them on other YouTube channels and people rate about them, typically in America, and I just thought, you know what, they were doing a deal, let's get it. Now I was going to replace my Kielder guns with the bigger versions of these Milwaukees. To be honest, I didn't feel the need to, because Kielder, UK make, have been very good, I have to say. So this gun, 700 Newton meters of breakaway torque. As I said earlier, it's the KWT12 model, twin speed, and it's just been brilliant. That's all I can say. It's the one I grab, it's the one that does the job. If I can't get this physically into the space, that's where this comes in. I don't like using ratchets particularly, because if you've got a gun, why not use it? However, there's always a time a ratchet is the only thing that will do. Love power ratchets, by the way, but we're not talking about those today. So love this gun as well. 700 Newton meters, perfect for just about any job you'd ever find on a car. Does struggle a little bit more with bigger sort of farm equipment and that sort of stuff. I have tested it on sort of lorry nuts, lorry parts and things like that. Not that I've got a lorry, but I have certainly tested it in a workshop to see what it was actually up to. Brilliant gun. I think this works price wise at this one. I think it's about 140 quid there. May even be slightly less, so it's not a huge amount of money. And then the last is the big brother, which is the KWT 085, 1750 Newton meters of breakaway torque. This thing is an absolute animal. Now when you pull the trigger, it does try, as you can see, the torque is it's actually doing. So they do recommend you use both hands to stable it, and even then it's twitching. Now when I first got it, I thought, well, I'll buy the bare unit, I don't need to buy batteries because I've got my 4 amp hour batteries. Bought the gun, fitted the battery, started to use it. Instantly I realised it was running out of go, and I thought, well, that's odd, new gun, shouldn't be like this. I was expecting it to be really powerful and really be able to do everything. Approached the manufacturer and said, look, I've just bought this gun. I won't say I was the first person to buy it in the country, but I certainly got it the second it came out. And I said, look, what's going on? New gun, it's not performing how I wanted it to. The first thing they said was, what battery are you running? So I said, it's a 4 amp hour. Immediately they said, you need the 5. Now, there is literature on the website and on boxes and all that sort of stuff that says it will be supported by the 4 amp hour, as in it will work, but you'll get mixed results. It just isn't enough power. The gun draws more than the battery can provide. So it's worth bearing that in mind. You will need the 5 amp hour. Now I recently purchased an angle grinder which came with 2 5 amp hour batteries from Kielder. Needed the angle grinder anyway, and that gave me the batteries that I needed. Fitted the 5 amp hour battery straight to the gun. Wow. Now, I said earlier, I don't use it as much as I thought I would. You know, I don't own lorries. I haven't got a big workshop. I am nothing more than a hobby enthusiast DIYer with mechanics and that sort of thing. So it's probably a little bit overkill for my needs. Where it does come in really handy, mind, is things like axle bolts and those sort of things. So it will do those with ease. Just bear in mind, it has the has the possibility of shearing very easily. So it's worth bearing that in mind. If you don't want to shear your bolt, don't use that gun, just too big. Anyway, I do hope you find this useful. If you like what you're seeing with this content, please like it. I really appreciate that. And if you want to see more videos like this, you might want to subscribe. Have a nice day. Bye.